We have three crucial developments over the last 24 hours. First, China is considering banning its own top AI models, exactly what the US did to Fable 5. And the reason comes back to Anthropic's Mythos. And if it happens, every one of us relying on the affordable Chinese open weight models is about to take a big hit. Second, just before launching GPT 5.6, OpenAI replaced ChatGPT's entire voice mode with something new, having mind blowing capabilities. And third, Meta dropped its first ever image model, one that can search the web and write code before it draws, which means an enormous jump in accuracy and context awareness linked to the images we generate. Now, all these updates have a profound impact on the way we go about our daily AI business. So, without any delay, let's get straight into the details. Starting with something which has really worried a lot of the AI users and developers. Another ban on top-notch AI. This time, China is weighing restrictions on foreign access to its own most advanced AI models, including ones that have not even been released yet. And the direct trigger appears to be Anthropic's Mythos. Reuters reported that Chinese authorities, led by the Ministry of Commerce, have spent the past month in private meetings with Alibaba, ByteDance, and Z.AI, discussing whether to limit overseas access to China's frontier models. This covers both closed systems and notably some open weight releases, the exact category that made GLM 5.2 and Qwen so popular with developers worldwide. Now here is the detail that connects this straight back to a story we have already covered. According to sources close to the discussions, Chinese officials are genuinely worried that Anthropic's Mythos, the cybersecurity-focused model the US restricted back in June, could be turned against Chinese systems to find and exploit vulnerabilities. State media and Zhou Hongyi, the founder of the cybersecurity firm 360, have publicly echoed the same concern, with Zhou calling for China to build its own Mythos class model. So the same capability that got Fable 5 banned in the US is now the reason China is considering banning its own models from foreign use. This is not an isolated move either. Earlier this year, Beijing's state planner forced Meta to unwind its $2 billion acquisition of the Chinese AI startup Manus. In early June, authorities issued sweeping new rules tightening control over cross-border deals involving Chinese capital, technology, and data. And there is reportedly a proposed tiered framework floating around Chinese legal circles, where basic open source tools require simple registration, mid-tier technologies face security review, and the most powerful frontier systems stay domestic entirely or never get released publicly at all. So why does this matter for us right now today? Because if this framework does land, it changes the calculus for every developer, every startup, and every content creator who has leaned on GLM 5.2, Qwen, or DeepSeek as an affordable alternative to Fable 5 or GPT 5.6. The entire pitch of Chinese open-weight models has been unrestricted, free, and permanent access. If Beijing starts treating its own frontier models the way Washington treats Mythos, that pitch changes overnight. And that is something we don't want to be happening to us. This we shall close in the honors section a bit later in the video. And speaking of models changing overnight, OpenAI just did something to ChatGPT's voice mode that most of us are going to notice within seconds of trying it. As we move to the most crucial portion of the video, do tell me, which AI is your absolute favorite? Plus, hit that like button and press that lonely subscribe button as well. Now, before GPT 5.6 was publicly released, OpenAI did something that nobody had an idea of, and it is something directly linked to 150 million ChatGPT users on a weekly basis. OpenAI just retired the old turn-based voice mode entirely and replaced it with GPT-Live, a system that listens and speaks simultaneously instead of waiting for us to finish talking.
I have never went to this city before, so...
Tiny tweak. I've never been to this city before.
Oh, yeah.
And maybe, yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, maybe polish it as, I've never been to San Francisco before.
Okay, that's much more natural.
They launched two models under this new family, GPT-Live 1, which becomes the default for every paid ChatGPT tier, and GPT-Live 1 Mini, which becomes the default for free users. Both are rolling out globally on iOS, Android, and the web starting immediately, with API access for developers coming soon through a sign-up waitlist. The old voice mode chained three separate systems together, one to transcribe our speech into text, one to generate a response, and one to turn that response back into speech. Every handoff between those three systems lost a little information and added a little delay, which is exactly why the old voice mode used to talk over us or miss the fact that we had just paused to think. GPT-Live throws that whole chain out. It is what OpenAI calls full-duplex, meaning it processes what we are saying and generates its own speech continuously, making a decision many times per second about whether to speak, keep listening, pause, jump in, or reach for a tool. That is the mechanism behind the features people are already talking about. It can hold a small acknowledgement like a quiet while we are still mid-sentence. It can wait through a genuine pause without filling the silence. And because it is processing audio continuously rather than in one finished chunk, it can now do live translation in real time, something the old architecture genuinely could not do. Here is the part that matters for how smart this actually is. GPT-Live handles the live conversation, but the moment something needs real reasoning, a web search, or a genuinely hard question, it quietly hands that specific task off to GPT 5.5 in the background and keeps the conversation flowing while it waits for the answer. OpenAI's own testing claims GPT-Live 1 beats the old advanced voice mode on GPQA, which tests expert-level science reasoning, and on BrowseComp, which tests how well an agent can search the web for hard-to-find information. And the scale here is not small. OpenAI says more than 150 million people talk to ChatGPT using voice and dictation every single week. ChatGPT's voice product lead said he has personally had 30 to 40-minute conversations with the new mode during walks, and OpenAI is openly positioning voice as a future primary interface for complex, longer-running agentic work, not just quick questions. So that is a genuine architectural shift landing in the hands of hundreds of millions of people today. Now let us pivot to something completely different, because Meta just shipped its very first image generation model, and the way it actually creates an image is stranger and more capable than we might expect. Here it is. This is huge. Meta just launched its first ever image generation model, and unlike most image generators, it does not just turn a prompt into a picture. It plans, researches, and sometimes writes actual code before it draws anything. Muse Image comes from Meta Superintelligence Labs and is live today inside the Meta AI app, on Meta.ai, in Instagram Stories in the US, and on WhatsApp in select countries, with Facebook coming soon. It builds directly on Muse Spark, the lab's earlier reasoning model, and Meta has confirmed a video model, Muse Video, is coming next to complete the set. The word Meta keeps using is agentic, and that is not marketing fluff here. Instead of mapping our prompts straight to pixels, Muse Image behaves like an actual agent. It can invoke coding tools during training to generate accurate plots, charts, and QR codes, and it checks its own rendered output against what it was actually asked to produce. It can search the web to ground an image in real, current information, which genuinely improves accuracy on prompts involving current events or specific real-world facts. And because it shares tools with Muse Spark, the two models can plan jointly, which lets them build things like animated GIFs, entire websites with embedded generated images, and interactive visual mini-games. According to Meta's own benchmarks, Muse Image beats Google's Nano Banana 2 on several image generation and editing evaluations, while sitting just behind OpenAI's newest GPT image model on overall quality. So Meta is not claiming the outright crown here. It is claiming a genuinely strong second place with agentic capabilities the other two do not have. There is one more detail worth knowing before we get to the honest section, because it is already generating real pushback. Muse Image lets us tag Instagram accounts to pull public photos from that account directly into an AI-generated image. And this feature is opt-out by default rather than opt-in. Meta does provide a setting to turn it off inside Instagram, but talent agency CAA has already publicly criticized Meta over this, saying no one's name, image, likeness, or creative work should be usable by an AI model without clear, documented consent. So Meta has shipped something genuinely capable, and also something that is already drawing real criticism on privacy grounds before it has even been out a full week. But here are some honest facts that complete this whole picture. Before we wrap up, there are a few things worth being direct about across all three of today's stories. On China's potential restrictions, be careful not to overreact to a headline. Reuters is reporting ongoing private consultations, not a finished law. The scope, the timeline, and even whether this applies to already released models or only future ones, all of that remains genuinely unclear. The right move, if we depend on Chinese open weight models for cost savings or fallback capacity, is not panic. It is simply to map our dependencies now so we know exactly what would be affected if a formal policy does eventually land. On GPT-Live, OpenAI's benchmark claims on GPQA, BrowseComp, and its internal telecom benchmark are all self-reported, not independently verified. The architecture and the launch are real and confirmed. Whether it genuinely holds up outside of English-heavy demo conditions and whether the delegation to GPT 5.5 feels seamless or introduces its own awkward pauses in daily use is something only real-world usage over the coming weeks will actually settle. On Muse Image, the same caution applies to Meta's own numbers. We have already seen this pattern before with Muse Spark, where Meta's internally reported score on the humanities last exam benchmark dropped noticeably once independent testers ran their own single-agent evaluation. So treat Meta's claim of beating Nano Banana 2 with the same healthy skepticism until third-party testing confirms it. And on the privacy question specifically, an opt-out default for using someone's tagged Instagram photos in AI generations is a real design choice with real consequences, not just an edge case critics are exaggerating. The through line across all three stories today is the same one we keep coming back to. Whether it is a government restricting a model, a lab shipping a faster voice architecture, or a company building an agent that can search and code before it draws, the pace of change right now means yesterday's default assumption is rarely still true this week. So here we are. What is your opinion on these updates and which one you think matters to you the most? Do share in the comments. I'll see you in the next one.